actually get started into Chapter 2, let's talk some mechanics. First of all, we have a new companion, Okku here.
Yes.
Okku is just a frontline fighter. He doesn't actually, he doesn't cast any spells. He's got knockdown. That's pretty much the only thing you can do other than smash things. He can't equip anything except rings and amulets, which is really too bad because frontline fighters means you should be using some of this campaign's ridiculous enchanted weapons. He can't. As he gains levels, he also gains inventory items, which will add to his attack power. So he's not as useless as he seems. And with a strength of 37 and decent sort of base damage attacks, he's okay. Just as a frontline fighter, he could definitely be stronger. He could definitely do more. He looks kind of ridiculous. I mean, he's a Technicolor bear, but that's what he is, and I'm going to bring him along just for conversation purposes. As far as more important things, we are now active as a Spirit Eater, which gives us some history feats. Devour Spirit is the ability to eat a spirit. It has a 5-minute cooldown, and if you use it a lot, your craving will go up. If you look over here at our Spirit Energy, there's a bar at the bottom that's green. It's craving. Craving determines how quickly your Spirit Energy goes down just over time. So there's kind of a balance between, if you have your craving really high, you're going to have to eat really often. If you have your craving really low, then you won't, to a certain extent, if you keep your craving at minimum, you won't really have to devour anything. There's an ability here, Provoke Spirits. It's rarely useful, but more or less as if you have a spirit available who's not hostile and you want to fight it, you can provoke it so that you can fight it and eat it. Satiate, you should never use. It essentially, you lose XP and your spirit energy refills. It's not something you should ever plan on using. The Spirit Eater feat doesn't actually do anything. That's just sort of the background. You also have the ability Suppress, which is a little bit different from Devour Spirit in that it prevents you from using Devour Spirit, but it gives you a small amount of spirit energy and it decreases your craving. This is primarily how I'm going to be managing spirit energy. It has less side effects, and essentially lets you play if you keep your craving at minimum, you will essentially end up with a fairly normal game without having to deal with the whole Spirit Eater thing on a regular basis. The only real reason to really get involved in the Spirit Eater thing is that there are a couple places where eating a lot of souls is really quite effective at giving you things to work with for enchanting purposes. The other thing that changed when we ended the chapter is our journal entry on that guy in the vault. Says, perhaps your new Spirit Eater abilities can be used to make the spirit more cooperative. Yeah, if being threatened of being eaten probably it has a tendency to motivate people. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff here left over from the enemies that I fought when I was, Okku's army. So I am going to clean that up. I'm also going to cast in this case, an elemental is the spirit I cast. And because this ability, it depends on the number of spirits you have around. If you can actually abuse this. If you have a full party of people you're using, and you have everybody summon an elemental, or use the Orglash crystal, or use one of those little, there are inventory items you can use to summon low-level elementals, you can actually gain net spirit energy back from just resting and using Suppress. And that was probably not what they meant. They probably meant Suppress so that you would only think every couple days instead of, never. But I can't really abuse that with it's just me summoning things. I can't get enough, so I will have to make do with just having one additional, and then you activate the feat.
Korenos y porpe koromos.
I've rearranged my taskbar, my hotkeys, just so that I have Suppress and Devour Spirit a little closer together. We're here by our Earth Elemental. Also, you can collapse the Spirit Energy menu, so it just shows the Spirit Energy and the Craving. The only thing this tree shows you essentially is what happens to you when you stop eating. It's all bad, so we're not going to worry about it. We're not going to get anywhere close to it. So, with this Greater Earth Elemental out, and Okku sitting here, and, you know, all that, I am just going to invoke Suppress. And you can see my Spirit Energy went back up to 100. My Craving went down a little bit. Now, I'm going to have to repeat this cycle a couple times so that I can get my Craving down to 0. And I'll do that off screen. I'm not going to bore you with just sitting through resting. I will lose some Spirit Energy in the process, but at least that way I will not have to deal with it very often. Clean up the last bit of this stuff. The Orglash Crystal, also summoned Orglash, also counts as a spirit. So you can't actually summon anything yourself. You can just use the Orglash Crystal to create a spirit for your suppressing needs. You can't consume anything that you summon. The townspeople were babbling about, oh my, she's a spirit eater. But let's have a conversation with Okku while we're here.
We underestimated your might. A whole host of angry spirits were no match for your wrath. While I will honor my oath to help you, do not forget that other spirits may resent you for the pain you caused them.
Yeah, so we can be apologetic.
Apologize? You should not apologize for defending yourself. Your hunger, if left unchecked, will consume every spirit of Rashomon. We felt we had no choice but to kill you.
Yeah, this is the other side of this campaign. There's the whole Wall of the Faithless thing, and then there's the, oh yeah, a little bit of a curse to worry about. And,
Our prior battles are behind us, forgotten. Do not let them take your trust in me. Yes?
we can talk about Nakata, which is the first spirit we ate.
Your hunger ended Nakata's existence. You have no right to speak her name, Spirit Eater.
We can also be apologetic here.
Apologize. Your words will bring her back. I understand that you had no choice in the matter. I cannot forget your actions, but in time, I can forgive. If you are truly remorseful for your actions, you will strive to control your hunger and never again let it feed upon the spirits of the land.
Which is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to wait until I have dealt with the craving before I go into any longer conversation. Heading back into town, Chapter 2. And it tells you about Okku. For now, we have a couple of avenues we can approach. We can talk to Shiva Whitefeather, because we completed the mission, which was deal with Okku, and, well, Oku's there. We can go back to the Death God's Vault. Now that we are a Spirit Eater, we can get past and get that key. And there are a couple other things we can do. We can actually just go out on the Overland map, and there's one place we can explore. I'm going to head into the Vale here. I forgot that Sophia had all my crippling items, so I'm going to just rest, use suppress, rest, use suppress, rest, use suppress, until I get my spirit energy down to my spirit craving down to 0. Equip Okku for his so that he'll be useless, and then get back on the road. Now that we're in Chapter 2, there's some new conversations with our allies as well. I'm gonna pick Sophia
If there's
back
something
up.
I can do for you, just ask. I thought you'd never...
So if we talk
The
to
hunger
Sophia...
within you grows. No wonder the Bear King was so zealous in hunting you down. I am curious, what is it like being a spirit eater of Rashemi legend?
There's some of these responses that are a little funny, like, ask me later when I'm feeling hungry. Or, ancient spirits tremble before me, what's not to like? I'm just going to say it's a mixed
I
blessing.
only ask because I recall reading some of the Academy's texts on Rashemi spirit eaters. When you've read a lot about a legend on parchment, it's always fascinating to meet that legend in the flesh.
Let's see if she knows
Rashemi
anything.
folklore is handed down by word of mouth. Very little of it is written down. Still, a few rumors were overheard by Thayan scholars and penned for curiosity's sake, so keep in mind I'm hardly an expert on this topic. Did you have a specific question in mind?
Well, let's...
As the name would suggest, devouring spirits appears to sate the hunger. For a time. I have no advice for you, aside from the obvious. Be careful in your choice of prey. Much the way food nourishes one's body, I think it's safe to assume that the spirits you devour will nourish this presence within you. Feeding it poorly is certainly a risk not worth taking.
Anyway, Sheeta doesn't really know that much detail, so...
What's on your mind?
And, you can ask her about some other stuff. I'm actually going to end the conversation, and then that conversation was the first time you talked to her in Chapter 2 conversation. This is a different one.
Might I have a moment of your time? The more I travel with you, the more you surprise me with your agreeable qualities.
And, you know, you can say you enjoy her
I
company
see great
as well.
potential in you. Had you come to my academy as a prospective student, you would have made an excellent, if not unorthodox, pupil. I would like to share with you arcane lore that my mother taught me when I was young. During our travels on foot and our idle hours setting camp, I will train you, sharpen your memory, your focus, your will. Consider it a gift of our friendship. Now, shall we be off?
Okay. And that's one of these influence feats that influence bonuses I was talking about. Since I have a really good relationship with Sophia, I have the full bonus, which gives a permanent +2 to intelligence, and also +4 to all my spell save DCs, which would be useful if I was actually using very many spells that actually had spell save DCs. I've kind of avoided them because even with that +4 bonus and lots of spell foci and really high stats, you're still going to see your spells resisted a lot, and there's just better ways to be a wizard.
Yes?
So I'm going to grab my specialty items off of Sophia. I will leave enough stuff on her that I can bring her back into the party without problems. I was also having her carry just a couple of random items I didn't know what to do with. There are also conversations with our other party members, so we'll get back to those in a second once I get everybody set up again. By the way, if you dismiss companions, except Okku, they all come to the Vale Theater. Okku just goes back out to the gate where you found him. They're all still sort of in the Mulcentir area. I just dismissed Gan, but he's just out in the lobby of the theater. Doing Gan's conversations next.
Back again, I see. And what
Yeah.
may this one do for you?
I'll just pick
I
him
am
back up into the
honored and
party.
accept your gracious request. Shall we be off? Heroic deeds await.
There's a little bit of sarcasm there.
And how may I honor you? Of course. Ask what you will, and I will do my best to answer.
and you look uneasy.
Uneasy? Perhaps a bit. For one who barters with spirits such as I, having you around is an uneasy thing, yes. It's like attempting to negotiate with a merchant, while having a merchant-devouring beast standing next to you. It makes things more difficult, or easier, depending on the conversation. Also, in our battle with Okku, something changed. There is a new depth to you, to your dreams, that has been awakened. I am not certain of the cause of this, but where once your mind was a mirror, now you have an undertow that was not present before. A mirror to a flowing river, as it were. I think your dreams will be stronger, and that is interesting. Of course.
Okay.
Ask what you will, and I will do my best to answer.
And, you can ask him about party members.
And how may I honor you?
It looks like I don't have enough influence with Gan
Yes.
to get any of his feats yet. It looks like... what's my influence with him? Oh, okay. The relationship feats also give a bonus to them. In this case, my relationship with him is high enough that he gets a bonus to charisma, but I don't get any bonuses yet. I think Kalen is also not high enough. I think you need 50 influence in order to get a bonus. And I think... I'm just trying to remember where it is. Oh, here it is. 47. So I need to do one more thing that pleases Kalen, and for Gan, maybe one or two more things. Maybe not, equipping them with equipment that cripples them might make them happier, but they don't seem to care much.